Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am honored today to tell you that we have a very special podcast. A young man who has grown up with autism is here with us today. He goes by the name of Vel, and he is here to share some of his experiences with you and basically tell you from his perspective what it is like to grow up with this particular condition. He's also going to be discussing some of his thoughts about how things can improve with regard to how people with autism are treated by the rest of us who are neurotypical and by society at large. Welcome, Vel. It is an honor and a privilege to have you here today. And to begin with, I'd like to ask you this question. As a person with autism, how do you perceive the ways in which people have generally treated you throughout your life? And what sorts of issues has this treatment caused for you?
Often I feel like people have degraded me and looked down on me because they believe that just because I have issues with communicating with them or interacting with them in a way that's mature, that they must be of low intelligence and maybe not worth their time.
Well, has this had an emotional and mental impact on you? And if so, how?
Yes, I feel like it's done a whole lot to me in terms of self-destructive behaviors such as experimental asphyxiation that, while admittedly was not a means to actually end my life, it still made me very uncomfortable and insecure with myself, as well as plenty of experimental overdoses with alcohol and little things like Tylenol and Advil that were, well, they're also not enough to do anything to fatally harm me. They still messed me up and made me vomit quite a bit. And it took quite a while for me to move past all those sorts of things.
Well, it's very, very brave of you to come here and discuss this today. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is that the treatment that you received by other people, the way that they kind of looked past you or treated you in such a way that they felt that you were inferior or that you had a lower level of intelligence, that this caused you so much anxiety and depression that it prompted you to do these self-injurious behaviors, when if you had been treated differently, with more compassion, with more understanding, and with more acceptance, that might never have happened. Is that correct?
Yes, that's pretty accurate.
Well, tell me, who has helped you deal with the hardships, and what steps have you taken to overcome them?
I would say various spiritual leaders, therapists, and friends and family that have helped me find alternate ways of coping and coming up with alternate solutions on how to calm myself and keep myself stable. And just also me pushing myself to just do meditative practices and go to therapy and also control my substance usage.
What advice would you give to other people who may be going through the same struggles?
Yes, I would say to always try and remind yourself that things are often not as bad as they seem, because for me, every little bad thing that happened in my life was always embellished by my struggles and my disorders. And I think by doing so and following that philosophy, it allows me to find other outlets to vent those stressful emotions and thoughts. And I think by doing that, you create a better sense of meaning and progress that you can achieve and follow in your life, and not let these sorts of issues be at the forefront of what you do in your day-to-day living.
At this point, Val, is there anything else that's really important to you that you feel you would like to add, that you want to make sure that the listeners take away from our conversation, or that you really want them to know?
I think ultimately you can't really think life is ever gonna be permanently tormenting and hellish. Neither should it be. Should you ever think it's gonna be a perfect fantasy or paradise, but if you can come into sort of a middle ground and see things in a more realistic manner and perceive things the way that you think it would be beneficial to help you advance and progress in anything you're passionate about or anything you want to do to improve your circumstances, then I definitely recommend that you try and kind of gear your mindset in that direction. And obviously, this is not full replacement for any therapy or crisis lines or anything else of the sort that you could reach out to help or to benefit with your unique struggle. But I'm still hoping that this could give some kind of motivation and incentive for anyone facing similar struggles to try to find their way out of it and become a better person for themselves for it.
Well, thank you, Vel, so much for your courage, for your kindness, for the incredibly wise and wonderful words and thoughts that you shared with us today. And I want to invite you back anytime that you would like to come and share more of your thoughts and feelings. Please, our audience, I'm sure, appreciates it greatly. I also want to thank our listeners for spending a part of their day with us. I'm Gilda Evans, reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.